Hey guys, welcome back. Wow, my computer is being very slow today. I am running out of welcome back, hello, point down gifts. I honestly don't know if I've used this one before. I just thought it was funny. Like Michael Scott misses Jim so much, he's like running and tackling him and giving him a hug. I love it. If I could see all of you, I would probably do the same thing. But welcome back. If you're here, that means you just finished filling out the secret word and you are here ready to roll and dive into some poetry. So let's get started. Just a quick reminder, essential question for this week is how do we read and annotate a poem using story, using STORY? So let's do a quick oral drill. Remember, we're not covering anything that we haven't learned yet in class. So I want you to try to pull back some memory and tell me what is poetry? This is something you talked about in second grade and in third grade too. So when you think of poetry, what do you think of? Yeah, for sure. A poetry is a piece of text written in lines and stanzas that has a rhythm. So we do know that we have a chant to help us remember. And so I'm going to do it and I want you to do it with me. This way we can help kind of remember what poetry is. Are you ready? Okay. Poetry is a piece of text. Do it. Don't make me the only one. Do it, please. Thank you. So, poetry is a piece of text written in lines and stanzas that has a rhythm. Let's try it one more time. Ready? What is poetry? Poetry is a piece of text written in lines and stanzas that has a rhythm. One more time. Are you ready? Let's do it. Poetry is a piece of text written in lines and stanzas that has a rhythm. Good job. What are some characteristics of poetry? How do you know something is a poem? Ooh, the first thing I heard was rhyming. You're right. Rhyme is a characteristic. Can you come up with something different? Nice. Well, we know that poems are written in lines and stanzas. Remember, a line is a single line of text. A stanza is when we have multiple lines of text grouped together. It kind of looks like a paragraph, but it might not have an indent like we see in normal fiction or even like nonfiction writing. It looks like a paragraph, but it's mainly just a group of lines of a poem put together. The other characteristic is that it has rhythm and rhyming words, right? So we know a really easy poem we all know. Roses are red, violets are blue. See those two pieces, the very last words. Um, Roses are red, violets are blue. I can't think of anyone I'd rather spend time with but you, right? Blue and you rhyme, and that was pretty good. I came up with that on the top of my head, so I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. Blue and you rhyme, and we also start to kind of see the rhythm in the lines of the poem are flowing together. The third piece is that we use imagery to paint a picture in the reader's head, right? So these are just some characteristics of poems that we will be kind of coming back to as we dive into some poetry later on this week. So what's our focus for today? Well, our essential question is how do we annotate a poem? But not only are we going to be talking about reading and annotating poetry, we're going to really be analyzing why an author would write a poem the way that they did. So we're really diving into analyzing these poems and understanding why an author might have written a poem the way they did. So, how do we read and annotate? What kind of organizer do you think we should use? Should we use an STORY, a story organizer, or should we use a making text that seem very complicated, simple organizer? You're right. We're going to use a story organizer. Good job. Um, this is really going to help us understand setting, characters, the problem, attempts to resolve the problem, and a lesson that we might learn from the poem. Good job. Will I always have all of these elements? Will I always have a setting, always have talking characters, always have a problem, always have a resolution, always have attempts to resolve? What do you think? If you said no, you're right. Sometimes we're going to have all of the elements of the story organizer, and sometimes we don't. And this is just because the genre of poetry is a little different than the genre of narrative fiction that we're used to working with. So, our job as readers and as detectives is to make sure that as we're reading, we're filling out the important parts of our story organizer. So, Jay Z says no. So, that means no. We might not always have them. Sometimes we might, sometimes we won't. No big deal. So, the poem that we're going to be reading today is by a very famous author. Her name is Maya Angelou, and we are going to read one of her more famous poems called Life Doesn't Frighten Me. And I found this image on Google, and I thought it just really, really gave us a good idea of what this poem is going to be about. Um, I think a lot when I read this poem about my son who's 3 and who, before he goes to bed at night, has been doing this thing where he'll yell out, I'm scared. And so my husband and I will come in and be like, what's scaring you? And he'll say like the most random things, the clouds, it's dark, there are cupcakes in my closet. Guys, I'm not even kidding. He makes us tell 10 cupcakes to go away every night because he's like scared of the cupcakes. Um, but I think a lot about this poem, and I think a lot about things that can make us feel scared. And we're going to learn about what the narrator does in order to combat some of those fears. So this is what I want you to go ahead and do. You're going to get a piece of paper and a pencil, and you are going to create your own story organizer. Don't worry about like filling it completely out. Just have the STORY, and then we will kind of fill it out together as I read through the text. So what I want you to go ahead and do is get that piece of paper, get your pencil, and then you're going to fill out your organizer. Scroll down, answer the questions below, and after you click next, you should have a story organizer ready to go so that you can write what I write. Are you ready? Scroll on down, answer those questions, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.